Something unusual is happening in the market now. Most people are still too distracted to notice it. Over the last several days, certain stocks connected to space, defense, drones, lunar technology, aerospace manufacturing, and military systems have started moving very aggressively. And not all of them, but enough of them to suggest that a pattern is forming. I was looking at charts today, and if this is a new momentum trade beginning to emerge, it could become one of the market's biggest stories this summer. If you watched this channel recently, you know we've already been discussing some of these names. 2 days ago, we talked about Redwire before another major rally today. Late last night, we fired up the Klieg lights to the studio lights to discuss the possibility that space-related stocks could continue moving higher today. Well, today several of them did exactly that. Redwire moved up sharply. Again, also Tuesday, it pumped. Intuitive Machines, Lunar, LUNR, surged. Virgin Galactic rallied. Happy with that one, man. That one took off. And another company, AeroVironment exploded. AVAV is the symbol. AVAV, AeroVironment. A-E-R-O, capital V, I-R-O-N-M-E-N-T. They mash it together, but it's one word. AeroVironment. That one's a little more expensive. What's interesting is that these companies are not all the same, and that matters because this may no longer be just a SpaceX IPO excitement story. Something bigger may be forming underneath the surface. Let me explain. Redwire represents aerospace manufacturing and infrastructure. One viewer in our previous Redwire video made the fascinating comment, quote, he said, RDW is picks and shovels for space. And he's right. RDW is picks and shovels for space. And that may actually capture the bullish argument perfectly. The idea is that companies helping build the infrastructure around the future space economy may benefit regardless of which individual company wins. And then you have Intuitive Machines, LUNR, Lunar. That stock surged even after recent disappointment involving lunar terrain vehicle contracts. You remember Lunar took off Tuesday and then it dumped bad on Wednesday, but it's back again today. It came back. If you held on to it, you're happy because it came back in a strong way. And then some analysts are still aggressively raising price targets on Lunar despite these setbacks. Why? Because Wall Street may still believe there's massive money coming into the lunar systems, moon infrastructure, rovers, and long-term NASA-related projects. And then there's AeroVironment, AVAV. This one's interesting because it connects the story to defense technology and autonomous systems. AVAV recently announced a military-related contract involving advanced aerospace materials tied to future Air Force and Space Force applications. Suddenly, the market started paying attention. So step back for a moment and look at the broader picture. What do all these stories have in common? Future technology, government spending, defense, aerospace, autonomous systems, drones, national security, space infrastructure. And this is where the psychology becomes fascinating. Markets love stories. Markets love narrative. We saw it with electric vehicles, with AI, with crypto. Once investors begin emotionally attaching themselves to a vision of the future, entire groups of stocks can suddenly start moving together. And that may be exactly what we're beginning to see here. See, this is that pattern that I mentioned. Not every space related stock today exploded equally. Some of them were pretty sedate. You may have noticed Rocket Lab didn't do much. ASTS, Spacemobile, didn't do much. Planet Labs, not a whole lot going on today. Maybe they're consolidating. That's kind of what I was thinking is, they've been doing real well, so maybe they took the day off, right? Maybe they slept in a little bit. And I think that maybe that suggests that the market's becoming more selective. In other words, this may be evolving from buy any space stock you can get your hands on to buy the companies connected to defense infrastructure, military systems, aerospace manufacturing, and major future contracts. And that's a much more sophisticated narrative and potentially a much more durable one too. See? And, all these are excellent companies and these are unbelievable. I know exactly what I'm going to be. Well, you never know until you fire everything up in the morning, really what's happening. And the market opens and, it's like, okay, let's get cranking. But these are excellent companies. Redwire, uh, Virgin Galactic, SPCE, Lunar, you know, AVAV. These are excellent companies. I mean, I don't see how if you stick with the right companies, you cannot fail but make money. So, and my issue is at the end of the day, I see these things keep climbing, and I don't want to sell anything. I want to hang on to it. I want these things to compound. I see people selling, and I can see see what's happening, but I just once I own something, I like to just hang on to it and and see where we go. It's like the mystery deepens, and I don't want the story to end. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. And some of these stocks are speculative, some of them highly so. Some of them may already be overheated. Redwire, for one, is now approaching a major resistance level, right? We saw today that Redwire hit 25.93, and its all-time high is $26.66. That level could become psychologically important for traders. So it's not. This is not blind hype. We're just doing observation here. And one thing's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore, and that is money appears to be flowing toward a certain theme right now. And when themes begin forming in markets, they can sometimes last much longer than people expect, right? Again, this is not financial advice. I'm in no position to advise anybody on anything. I can barely tie my own shoes. So who am I to advise anybody about anything? I'm just a regular working stiff. I like sharing observations about markets, psychology, momentum, and investor behavior. If you like these discussions that we have, please like, subscribe, and please visit the website. It's jackcarterbooks.com. There's some interesting reading in there. If you like this reading about the psychology behind markets, crowd behavior, fear, greed, emotional decision making, you can check out my 2 stock trading books there at that website, jackcarterbooks.com. Subscribe to this channel so we can keep it going, okay? I don't want this thing to go away. This thing's pretty cool, and we're getting better and better at it. We are snowballing. My goal is to make me and you a little bit of cash. So why don't we go ahead and try to do that? I'll see you next time.